Hari Hari. So we are on chapter 1, text 11. Now Duryodhana is speaking to all of the soldiers on the battle of Kurukshetra. He says the following: all of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. As we talked about in the previous presentation, chapter 1, text 10, Duryodhana is still putting all of his faith in Atma Sainyeshva. He is still putting all of his faith, all of his belief into fallible soldiers, both literally and metaphorically. Whether Duryodhana wins or loses on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, because all of his considerations have only to do with the material, have only to do with what is temporary, then there will be inevitably an ultimate loss. A squandered and missed opportunity to use the human form of life to achieve the eternal. In the previous presentation, I talked about how we're just adding Krishna. It is not so simple as that phrase leads us to believe. It both is that simple, but it also requires our intentional and continuous choice. To add Krishna doesn't mean to go to the mandir and do a little puja at home, give a little donation to the Krishna mandir. That is not what it means to add Krishna. To add Krishna means first, not as an afterthought, not as a little bit later on, not as, oh, I'll get to that. First, add Krishna first. In considering what to do, in considering how to go about your life, in considering the choices you're going to make, add Krishna first. Include Krishna first on the front end of your life. That literally means to ask Krishna. Ask. Tesham sadata yuktanam bhajatam pratipurvakam didami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. To show them special mercy, I, Krishna says, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. The doubts we may have, the insecurities we may have, not may, we do have, all of those can be eradicated if we add Krishna, we include Krishna from the get-go. And that means understanding, communing, spending time with Krishna. And that is as simple as study of the Gita. Study of the life of Krishna. By study of the life of Krishna, we develop a relationship with Krishna. The more we study the words of Krishna, the more we study the life of Krishna, the closer we come to Krishna. Krishna is not some material being. The name, form, qualities of the Supreme whether we read them, hear from them from a video, however we come across the activities, name, form, pastimes of Krishna that brings us into the presence of Krishna. I was learning very on in life on how to engage in mantra meditation. And my teacher at the time, I was a young teenager, very, very fortunate to have had him as my instructor at that time. He was only with the school. He was only with us for about less than a year. Very, very fortunate. He changed my relationship with Krishna completely. I wouldn't say he changed it. He empowered it, magnified it. He opened it up to so much more that was possible when he said this: when you chant your rounds, your japa, don't chant your japa to Krishna as an offering to Krishna. Don't chant your japa for Krishna, but chant your japa with Krishna. It is a preposition that changed my spiritual life forever. That single word changed the trajectory of my spiritual life more than the dozens, millions upon millions of other phrases, instructions, guidances I received over the years from numerous individuals. That single word, with, changed everything. Chant your japa with Krishna. Eat your meal with Krishna. Go to work with Krishna. Engage in your seva in the mandir with Krishna. That's how you add Krishna. And adding Krishna in this way does not mean you no longer have to do anything. Quite the contrary. Arjuna exemplify what it means to have Krishna with. But while Arjuna had Krishna with him, Arjuna did not stop engaging in the responsibilities he had as a Kshatriya warrior king. Arjuna carried on the battle of Kurukshetra. He had Krishna on his side. His understanding that Krishna literally told him. In the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna literally told him the outcome of the war. He said, you will win, the Kauravas will lose. You will be victorious, the Kauravas will lose. This is at the time when Krishna is showing Arjuna, revealing to Arjuna his entire Virat Rupa. There is no question that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. It's standing before Arjuna, driving Arjuna's chariot, and Krishna says, you will be victorious. No matter what you choose to do, everyone here will be slain. Arjuna could have easily have sat down, put his bow on the chariot and say, well, Krishna, do your thing. No, the instruction was, be but an instrument. The instruction was, Arjuna, your duty is to take up the bow, to engage in warfare, because it's part of your swadharma, and it is the dharma of a kshatriya. You do your part. You do your duty. You engage in your swadharma. Leave the result to the Supreme. The famous 13th day of the battle, when Arjuna has to traverse a half a dozen miles from one end of the battlefield to the other to kill Jayadratha because of the promise he made. Arjuna worked strenuously as the Kauravas threw everything, including the kitchen sink, at Arjuna to prevent him, to slow him down so that he could not get to Jayadratha and he would have to end his life, as he promised. There was not a single day of the 18 days of the Battle of Kurukshetra where Arjuna struggled as much as he did that day. And still, he actually did not succeed. Krishna had to intervene, and using Yogamaya was able to save Arjuna. Because Jayadratha's ego, being such as it was, exposed himself. Krishna cleared the skies of Yogamaya, and Arjuna was able to fulfill the promise he made. But Arjuna had actually failed. He worked and worked, fought from the moment the conch shells blew, signaling the beginning of the battle, all the way up to sunset. Arjuna fought without rest. The horses had to stop and be rested by Krishna. Arjuna could not get rest. He was standing on the ground, defending Krishna and the horses as the horses rested. There was no rest for Arjuna. So to add Krishna does not mean we become couch potatoes. To add Krishna simply means from the get-go, everything we do with Krishna. If you have moments of doubt, moments of insecurity, ask, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. I give the understanding by which the individuals can come to me. I carry what they lack. I preserve what they have. These are those individuals who know Krishna, who live with Krishna. And living with Krishna is much easier than you would think. It is simply being Krishna conscious, being aware. Krishna says, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddesha Arjuna Tishtati. Krishna is already within our heart. It is to be aware and conscious of the fact. That's all. And it takes practice. It doesn't come naturally for the simple reason that we haven't done it, is all. Become aware and conscious of the fact that Krishna is already within our heart. Not judging, loving. Not criticizing, loving. Not demeaning, loving. And just being. Because that's all that Krishna has to do, is be. Krishna's presence is all auspicious. Krishna's presence is all auspicious. When we become aware of Krishna, conscious of Krishna, then we invite Krishna's auspiciousness into our existence. Unlike other paths of spirituality, Krishna does not impose himself upon the living entity. There is no need to. Because if there's an imposition, there's no possibility of, and you've guessed it, you've been with me long enough to know, if there's an imposition, there is no possibility of love. No possibility of bhakti taking place. There must be a measure of autonomy, freedom, in order for love, for bhakti to exist and to grow. But we have to engage with Krishna. When there is doubt, when there is insecurity, ask Krishna. Make it a habit, even when there is no conundrum. difficult choice, anxiety. Make it a habit of including Krishna in your day, including Krishna in your activities, including Krishna in everything that we do. Yat karoshi rashnasa yajahusi didhasi yat. Yat tapasyasi konte tat kurushva mararvaram. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering unto me. Just add Krishna and do your duty. Be an instrument. What is it? Nimitta matra bhava savya sachin. You, O savya sachi, can be but an instrument. I've already taken care of everything. You be an instrument. You do what you're supposed to do. You engage in your svadharma. Fully, completely, 100%, 100%. Give all of yourself. Allow me to take care of the results. This is how we add Krishna. It is very easy. The difficulty is not in adding Krishna. The difficulty is disciplining ourselves, reminding ourselves to add Krishna. The adding is easy. It's the remembering to do so. That is the challenge. Hari Hari.